This is a great thing about vinyl as well, because you have to be physically involved with playing the music. One of the best things to do is to do nothing else but put a record on and sit and listen to it.
I think folk are just like, I like a big huge picture and a big huge CD that's black that I can just watch turn around.
We put out bands that we would want to hear on physical packages that we would want to buy.
There are so many people who get caught up in the moment and want to buy something to take it away.
I think people will always want to own physical music, collect physical music.
It's nice to have something collectible. I mean, that's forever now, you know.
They're just 4 bands that we really, really like that are sort of similar in terms of musical content.
We met them at a record fair they were at, and I was talking to them, and I just had it in my head, it was like a target to put out a record with them at some point.
So there's 4 bands on it. There are Poor Things, Pinact, Sharp Tooth, and African. On a split 7-inch on white vinyl. It came out at the end of June. We did 2 proper release gigs for it, one in Edinburgh, one in Glasgow. They're all kind of poppy, punky, spiky, slightly noisy guitar bands.
The purpose was to try and sell records to break even. We broke even in the second night in Glasgow, which was amazing, which takes a huge pressure off everyone because vinyl's expensive. We've done tape launches before, and it's just, you're just printing money. The shows were great. They were amongst the most fun shows we've ever had. This is different. It's a cool format. It sounds fantastic when you play them. They look great. Every release we do from there, we want to be able to release it on vinyl.
I really prefer a physical thing. It's not practical, but no, it's nice to have something collectible. I mean, that's forever. You can show that to your children, or you can come back in 15 years and show them that. It's not going to be the same to kind of, look up an old hard drive in 20 years' time and go, look at that file, your dad made that file, or to just go through it, and it's not quite the same.
What I've noticed is the effect that downloading's had on physical formats. I think it's definitely pushed it towards more kind of niche and kooky stuff, and more significant artefacts as well. I think CDs have just become made disposable and redundant. There's no real kind of romanticism there. I think partly because when you buy CDs now from bigger labels and in shops like high street shops, whatever, 9 times out of 10 you pick up a CD and it's just got nothing in it. It's got like a disc, it's got maybe just some brief notes about who recorded it, and that's it. The high street retailers are still making an effort into things like vinyl release and stuff like that as well. I think the smaller labels they just do it better.
Feeling is gone, but I haven't the strength to run. I just can't face the great unknown when my heart's in a hat.
It doesn't seem like that many people actually download the music from looking at stats. I think they just buy the tapes to collect, and will maybe listen to it once or twice and occasionally download the music. But from the amount of tapes we sold, looking at people that have actually downloaded the tracks, because they all come with a download code, giving people the option to download them, and there's not really been that many people that have downloaded the music. So I think they do just do it to sort of support the bands. Because I know a lot of people probably don't have a tape player. A lot of people might not have a record player. So it's good to give people that option to download it. And not so many people do, but I do want them to. Like, I would like people to listen to the bands I put out, because I love the bands I put out. So I want to spread the love.
I just can't face the great unknown when my heart's in a halfway home.
Bands like lo-fi rock bands in general, tapes work because it fits with the aesthetic, and it's not a particularly marketable thing just now. There's small communities of people that are really into it, but it's not a huge operation. So tapes are great because the sound isn't impacted too much and you can make so many of them.
The reason we put a lot of effort into it and we have extra bits and because we want to buy those products, but it's because vinyl costs a lot of money to produce. So you have to charge quite a lot of money for it. Some 7-inches now are almost 10 quid. Charging that for 2 songs is, to a lot of people in this world, is absolute madness. So you need to make it worth your while.
Just like you go to a show to support your friends to go and see them play, you also pick up a record or pick up a tape or something to help float that. I mean, like 9 times out of 10 you speak to folk and they don't have a tape player but they still buy a tape. I think half of that's because it's a cool wee artefact and it's something interesting, but I think people are aware of the fact that individuals and collectors are going out on a whim to kind of create something for the sake of like that kind of need to create it and desire to create it and not make money or have sort of inflated glory or anything like that. I think people recognise that people do it for artistic integrity and they try to support that where they can. I think that's a big part of it. In terms of physical formats, I quite like things that are unusual. I quite like probably anything as long as it's packed with enough kind of original stuff, because everyone's seen a record or a CD or a tape. I think also there's like the tone of stuff as well, like we put out a little zine. I really like the tape thing, because maybe just because we're doing that just now, like dubbing them as I speak. I like it because it's like a total kind of hands-on thing, and because you're there from like beginning to the end, you don't just like put in an order and hope to hell it turns up before the gig or whatever. You're actually there physically making sure it happens. That's an exciting part for sure, and because there's so much versatility with how you can package it, it's really good fun. I think I've noticed that at shows as well, people like them as kind of wee collector's items that are easy to stick in your pocket and still go out and get lashed, and they'll wake up with them in the morning. So.
It seems utter madness, doesn't it? Spend ages making it sound as nice as you can make it and then putting it on a cassette tape. It seems silly. Having something that's collectible with a cassette. Sound quality is nice. I do prefer vinyl. I mean, technically, digital probably does sound better. I mean, it's going to sound the same wherever you play it, you know, on whatever system. It's not going to be dependent on the needle or the turntable or whatever. But again, there is something about sort of analog warmth, and even I was thinking about, you know, like the hiss and pop that you get on a vinyl record. Because you hear all these classic records on vinyl, do you therefore associate listening to vinyl nowadays with quality? Maybe. That's maybe why I prefer it, I think, or maybe that's why I think I prefer it. You would pay for music if you had to pay for it. You can get away with... It's just human nature, isn't it? If you can get away with something without paying for it, of course you're going to do it. I don't really like it. I'd rather not. But again, it's kind of irresistible, isn't it? You can download anything really. It'd be different if it was, someone on Fuzzkill or a small label. Yeah, of course, you really should buy it. People put a lot of work into it, and I think there is value to it.
If your favourite band releases a record and you love it, then you probably will initially stream it to listen to it. But when it comes to it, you will want to own it at some stage. Whereas if you have like that kind of passive relationship with your music where you don't even know what the song is, you just like it. So you're not as invested in that the like future or the sustenance of the artist.
I think there are definitely still lots and lots and lots of artists that are crafting albums as an album experience. Whether people are interested in that, I don't know. I mean, I am. I know lots of people that are. I know lots of people that aren't. They're quite happy to create playlists or just flick around songs on their phone or whatever, and that's fine. I think maybe the kind of artists that are creating, like crafting an album, as a whole entity, maybe lend themselves to the kind of fans who are perhaps more committed to listening to it as an album.
I like to listen to music as an album. I like to listen to an album from start to finish. I think it has an overall merit that you don't get from a single song. It has an overall experience that there is an intention there, especially music from the past. It is meant to be listened to, I think, as a whole album. It's something that people don't really do, apparently, now. Again, it's just not a world I'm part of. It doesn't make sense to me to not listen to a whole album if you have the time. I mean, to me, that's the way you're meant to listen to music. This is a great thing about vinyl as well, because you have to be physically involved with playing the music. One of the best things to do is to do nothing else but put a record on and sit and listen to it, and then get up and flip it over and listen to the second half. I think that's the best way to listen to music.
Part of why some people buy vinyl, and partly why I buy it, is because it does really focus your mind on the fact that you've just spent 15, 20 quid on an album, and you're going to actually sit down and enjoy that and pay attention and give it repeat listens. Like, I listened to so many albums online once and I think, yeah, that's pretty good. And some of those albums I'm sure I would absolutely love, but for some reason I never go back to it. So I never have that second, third, fourth listen that really gets you. Because some albums are not that immediate. There are growers and there are layers to them that you're not really going to get on a first listen. You buy a record, you're going to sit down and you're going to listen to it, and you're going to listen to it over and over and over again and really get into it.
I think it's more fun. I think it's born of like a generation of folk that remember when that was exciting and interesting, before it was all downloads and stuff, which is exciting and interesting as well. But I think, yeah, it's a kind of romanticised, nostalgic thing that everyone kind of cottoned on to. I think it'll always be there, yeah. The experience, the kind of tactile experience of it, having to flip the cassette over or the record or whatever, I think that's what people go for. Some
people are coming back to like the idea of sitting down for 40 minutes or whatever and paying attention to music as a kind of backlash to it's just become background music to so many people.
We're so close to physical format because we had it whisked away as we got really into stuff, as we got to the age where we had the independence to go to concerts and like travel to go and see bands, and it started being cut back and cut back. But we have that relationship, like we all at some stage experienced and listened to it as a whole. We all had CD Walkmans. Family holidays or anything, like any sort of time you spend on your own, you would have a Walkman and like you listened to it from start to finish. You'd maybe carry like 5 or 6 or up to 10 CDs. But that's, when you're carrying that little amount of music, then you will listen to it the way it was originally intended. Those are the best experiences I have of music in many ways. We are totally close to that, and we always will be. And people that grow up with the same interests as us may not grow up with that. They will come to learn of it, I'm sure.